Hey YouTube, tomorrow is going to be International Women's Day, as I'm sure you'll have heard. Last year, I know that I celebrated it by going to a festival called the Women of the World Festival in London, which was an incredible event. I went with my mum, and we saw loads of awesome feminist speakers, went to various workshops and discussions and debates, and it was really good. This year, it's going to be equally, if not more, awesome. You've got people like Eve Ensler from the Vagina Monologues, Camilla Batman-Gailey, founder of Kids Company, Yasmin Alabai Brown, who is one of my mum's favourites, Kat Banyard, who is the founder of UK Feminista. We've also got Shami Chakrabarti, who is the head of Liberty, and also happens to be the chancellor of my university, which is awesome. And there's also Helena Kennedy, who used to be the chancellor of my university. Did I ever mention that I really like my university? Yeah, those are only a few of the awesome people who are going to be speaking there. I'll post links on the bar so you can check it out. It's going to be this weekend, and it's going to be incredible. I'm quite gutted I won't be going because I'm a student and I'm too poor. But yeah, basically, what I wanted to talk about today is sort of feminism and the globalization of feminism. And to be honest, most of my knowledge about feminism is strictly about Western feminism. And there's a significantly small amount of information floating around about feminism in other parts of the world. I find that is shown in the Western media. Um, Doing some research, it looks as if feminism originated in the Western world and then kind of eventually went off to other parts of the world. Um, so you've got like things like global feminism and transnational feminism described as contemporary. I'm quite skeptical of this. History has been repeatedly whitewashed, so I don't really know what to make of this. I think that I think there's been a lot of feminist movements around the world, um, and that over a vast history. So I don't really think that feminism just used to be a Western thing. I think it used to be everywhere, but it's really whitewashed. It also irks me that like on Wikipedia and stuff, there's pages on like Black feminism and Islamic feminism, but none on Western feminism. So it's kind of showing that as the norm. I don't know. Um, but feminism actually, yeah, it does exist outside the Western world, which might be shocking to the Western media, seeing as every mention of African or Middle Eastern or Asian women has to be, well, if it's not vilifying them in some way, that is, it has to sort of cry about how oppressed they are and how backwards their societies are and how we Western feminists should go and help them and save them from themselves. Sure, patriarchy does have a firm grip on most societies in the world, but the West is not the only place where it's being challenged. Islamic feminism, for a start, whilst people sort of shout a lot about the misogyny and the patriarchy sort of within the faith of Islam, they don't stop to think about how it is open to interpretation, much like Christianity and the Bible. Can be interpreted differently by different people. So can the Quran, and I think Islamic feminists argue particularly that the teachings have had a highly sort of patriarchal interpretation, and they seek to highlight how their faith is actually very deeply based on equality. Um, and if African feminism as well, what really annoys me when you look into it, like doing some research and stuff, is that like there appears to be a debate on whether or not it exists. It does exist. There are loads of large groups of African feminists all over the continent, like the Egyptian Feminist Union for a start, and there are many famous, well, I say famous within Africa, African feminists. For example, Wangari Maathai from Kenya, but the Western media chooses to ignore it all. It exists, I promise you, it really does. Um, so really, this International Women's Day, what I want to ask of you guys is, if you're not going to one of the many awesome events happening, take some time to do some research, find out about feminism all around the world. And it's hard to know what some people's lives are like in, far distant corners of the world, but have a go trying to have a look. Research feminist movements from all across the globe and see where there are other countries that are doing better than your own country, or where is doing worse in terms of women's liberation and feminism. It's important to be educated about these things, otherwise we keep going on about, you know, old stereotypes that aren't actually applicable anymore and things like that. So the more you know, educate yourself, and happy International Women's Day for tomorrow. Bye!